And welcome back, everybody, to a very exciting episode of the TV show. My name is Jay Black, joined by the vertical Rhea Hughes
Oh, so
on
let
her
me try
phone.
and change it. I'm on my phone. I
Oh,
went.
nice.
I went to the shore. To spend time with the rain last week. I think it's better vertical. And
Well,
left my
no, it isn't.
no. I left my charger, my computer charger down the shore.
I could see you better the other way.
Okay.
Whatever.
All right. All right. Hold on. So this is
Rhea, no
better.
Way
matter
better. Come on,
whatever
Rhea.
you're doing looks better than what we're doing. That is
Yeah,
for
it's not
certain.
working for me, Rhea. Look at me.
And the ever bubbly Angelo Cataldi.
Yeah.
And guys, we have so much to talk about. I wanted to start with something that Angelo you brought up about the ending to the Colbert show. Now, we are all on the side of Stephen Colbert, although I don't know if you still feel the same way, Angelo, after this.
Yes.
His final episode was May 21st, and we've talked about the death of late night. And I think the finale is worth a conversation, especially because it's a perfect example of maybe the worst instincts of ending a show. First off, Paul McCartney was on it. He was also on SNL the week before. Angelo, doesn't sound great, Paul McCartney, anymore, does he?
No. Paul McCartney can't sing anymore. I
No.
hate that. I heard it on SNL the previous week. He has
Yeah.
to stop singing
Yeah.
because it's making me forget what a great vocalist he was with the Beatles and after. And he can't hit a note anymore. And he's
Nah,
83 years old. And you know what? Somebody's got to tell him. No one's telling him. He can't.
Right.
He's destroying his own songs, which are great. Now, this one was Hello, Goodbye, and everybody joined in. So they
Yeah.
it wasn't as bad as what he did on SNL. But let me give you an analysis of the whole final week of Colbert. And understand, I am 100% behind him. He was drummed off the air because there's no freedom of speech in this country right now because we got an FCC director, Brandon Carr, who's basically just a vehicle for the president to roll over anyone who's against him. But the final week of Stephen Colbert's show was horrible. Do you understand? Yeah. It wasn't bad. It was worse than bad because the whole week you could see they were conscious of, we got to kill this. This is our last week. We got to leave big. And they tried way too hard. They did one of the 4 shows on things, no audience. They didn't even bring an audience in. The things that never got on the show.
Right.
And for the next hour, they showed you things that they had said, no, we're not going to put that on. It's not that good. And you realize, well, they were right the first time. It was terrible. Halfway through, Colbert was making fun of it and saying, the rest of the week will be better, I promise. You get 4 shows left and you're throwing one away? Why? The second to last show, Jay, it's the second to last show. He's got a thing where people are going to interview him. And he brings on a cast of great names. Billy Crystal, Ben Stiller, Robert De Niro. And they each get 30 seconds. Maybe not even. They come over, they sit at the desk, they ask a question, and they're gone. And you go, he had all those great people. He did nothing with them. And the final show was just hot. They did this stupid special effect with a green hole and getting sucked into it. And it was all awful. Right there. The only guy that got any time to talk was Paul McCartney. And he had a great angle. Paul McCartney went to the same studio to do Ed Sullivan at the very beginning of Beatlemania. He asked him one question he could have done the whole 10 minutes just talking about what it was like to come to America in 1964 and take over the world. One question out of it. It was awful. The whole thing was brutal. It was bad. And all these people said, wow, great ending. No, you're letting your sentiment distract you from the reality, which is it was putrid.
Rhea, number one, I don't know if you've seen the Colbert Show. I know that's a little bit later for you. Do you agree with Angelo? Was it as bad as all that?
See, now I'm going to be put in the uncomfortable position of ripping Angelo about endings to great shows because I lived one with him. And as you know, Angelo, it became I mean, that's what happens when a great show ends. They try to make it super big. They try to make it like not what it is because, they want to, in your case, honor you after 32 years or 33 and honor Stephen Colbert instead of just doing the show that people love. And that's really, when you're going to end a show, end it by just doing what people love, not rolling in every single celebrity that you could possibly get. Me crying through an update because it was your
Mm,
last show. I mean, to me, endings those kind of shows, like live shows, it's different when you're ending a TV series and a finale and they try to make it big. But live stuff, do the stuff that the people love. That's how it should be. Just, give them what you've been giving them for 20, 30 years.
Let me tell you something. I've never said this to anyone, but I'll say it right now. I didn't love my last show.
I know.
I didn't love my last week.
I know.
It came right after the Eagles lost the Super Bowl. If I could do it again, I swear to God, Rhea, the last thing that would have happened on our show, I would have left 3 weeks earlier.
Yeah.
When Gail came on and did this unscripted tribute.
Yep.
And it was right at the end of the show, and she was crying, I was crying. And I went to the other show. I said, see you tomorrow, everybody. Bye, bye. I get up, and I went, where do we go from here? We're screwed.
It was so beautiful. It should have ended
real.
right there.
It was genuine, spontaneous in the moment.
Yeah.
That's hard to do. I'm not saying it was easy. I'm just saying Colbert whiffed. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
I think I think everybody does that because, they're just, they're trying to jam everything. Just do what you normally do and then just say, see you later.
You know what I think actually kind of ruined it for everybody was Carson's last couple of weeks. Remember there was Bette Midler singing The Wind Beneath My Wings and it felt like this, and he had earned that goodbye. And I'm not saying that Colbert after 11 years didn't, but like the cultural heft of Carson was such you had to say goodbye because the whole world wanted to.
And his show, and Jay, his show was different. His show was an entertainment show. So what they did fit that finale.
100%. Well, Angela, what you should have had was me, Jay Black, on the show for the last hour, just doing retrospectives of the best reviews I gave it on TV shows, and I think that's what the people wanted.
An hour. That wouldn't have filled the whole hour.
All right, let's move on to something that actually, Rhea, I had a crisis of faith this weekend. I had an extra day in Vegas because my plane wasn't leaving. And I was thinking to myself, should I go see Mandalorian and Grogu, the new Star Wars movie? Now, look at me. I need to go see Star Wars movies. I am built as a Star Wars fan. And you know what I said, Rhea? Nah. I went to Gordon Ramsay's Burger and had a hamburger at the Planet Hollywood. That was what
good?
I did. It was delicious.
Okay.
And I bet you far better than I would have enjoyed Mandalorian and Grogu. And I am not alone in this sentiment. It did okay. It made about $100 million this weekend over Memorial Day, but it's the lowest Star Wars movie ever, especially adjusted for inflation. Seems like people don't really care about it. And I was looking at that box office versus this $1 million horror movie called Obsession, which has made something like 75 million, about 75 times its budget. And then I was looking at this Friday, a movie based on a YouTube short called Backrooms. It's made by a 20-year-old. He can't even drink legally, Rhea, and it's going to make 50 million this weekend, according to all tracking. So we have talked a lot on this show about like the return of stories. Here we have two original stories making huge money on low budgets versus Star Wars doing okay, just being released. Are we finally over the hump, or is this just an aberration?
So, Jay, when you say like the Mandalorian and Grogu or whatever, you're speaking a foreign language to me because I've never been a Star Wars person. I'm not necessarily a, sci-fi kind of a person. I like some sci-fi, but if you would put a gun to my head and I'm standing outside the theater and it's like, go see a Star Wars movie or go see something about a 20-year-old, I would have gone to the 20-year-old thing. I mean, that's just what I would have done. But I was reading the story that you linked us to tell us about it, that these are being, sometimes the children, we keep saying the children are our future and they're going to save us. It's being driven by 17 to 25-year-olds. So they looked at that. And from what I've seen, the reviews of the movie are fantastic.
Yeah.
And that young kids do want stories. I mean, I know Angelo hated it, but what was the robot movie that you and I saw? The
Wild Robot. The Wild
Robot.
Yeah.
I took Clark and his buddy to see that. They were 15 at the time. They couldn't have loved that movie more. They absolutely loved it. I know, Ange, you're not an animation person, but what I'm saying is, they do like stories, and my son watches YouTube every night, every morning when I get up at 2:15 in the morning. I get all my stuff together. The last thing I do is I go into his room to turn off his TV, which is running a YouTube channel.
Yeah, so that's my kids too.
Yeah, so they love it. And I asked him, he goes, well, they're just telling different stories. So they're not these stories of Star Wars, which has been told a million times.
Yeah, it's the hero with 1,000 faces. We need a few new faces. What do you think, Angelo? Are we over the hump?
Rhea nailed that. Rhea's 100% right. I don't know that we're over the hump, but we're on the hump. We are now seeing. In fact, I got a review in a few minutes of a movie that's a throwback to the 80s, action thrillers. They're starting to make them again, and they're making money. And that's the key thing. It's not whether they're going to make them. It's that when they do, that people go to see them or stream them or do whatever you have to do. But I mean, honestly, the fact that you are Mr. Animation, Mr. Fantasy, if you're tired of Star Wars, there's no one left who isn't. Why they really think they're just going to keep tapping in there until there's not a dime left to squeeze out, right? That's it. They're going to just keep grabbing. I'm thrilled. I think the more these big franchise movies start to tank, the more likely we are to get real stories and independent films that are lower budgeted, that rely on a story, character development, that kind of stuff. And I think there's a lot of signs this year that it's starting to go in that direction.
Yeah, I can never understand the thinking. I mean, I get that you take the big swings for the billion-dollar payoff, but Star Wars cost $165 million, and that's considered cheap.
Right.
But Obsession cost $1 million.
That's amazing.
You could have made 165 movies at that budget level. And Angelo, I don't know if you follow this Backrooms. It's the most interesting horror movie.
Yeah.
It's called liminal horror. If you don't know about this at home, the idea is if you ever go to a building that's supposed to have a lot of people and there's nobody there, it's super creepy. So Backrooms is about this space on the other side of the dimensional wall that is just endless back rooms. It's like an office building that's endlessly empty. And this became a hit on YouTube. What I love about it, it's a new kind of horror. It's not, Freddy Krueger jumping out of your dreams. It's the idea of wandering in an empty office building. Now, whether or not that's going to be interesting for 2 hours, I don't know. The reviews have been very good, but that's interesting to me. I get excited about that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you lost me at dimensional back wall.
Me too.
Can I tell you, Jay, there is no such thing. How about we do some reality movies and not worry about the back wall of the dimension?
It took me a long time to get the upside down in Stranger Things, and I finally got it. I'm not into interdimensional now.
No. Angelo, it's more realistic than the West Wing.
Yeah.
I watch the West Wing and I go, oh, wow, look at this. Democrats getting stuff done. That's okay. Yeah, that's all right. So, you know what? Speaking of politics, let's talk about, and Angela, I think for the audience, you're going to need to explain this to people because this goes back to an old thing called the fair use doctrine. Not fair use doctrine. I'm sorry. The fair, was it fair time? I don't even know.
Equal time.
Equal time.
Equal time.
Equal time.
look, here's a bottom line, all right? I don't get political for a real good reason because I'm no expert on that. I have no clue what I'm talking about. I know more about TV and sports than I know about politics. There's only one thing I'm positive I know about politics that I won't keep my mouth shut about, and it's freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. Because freedom of speech gave me my career. Without it, I had no career. I had nothing. You understand? It's important that in our country, we be able to speak what we feel without suppression. And what's going on with The View right now is now it's being looked at for the possibility that it no longer can show clips or stuff like that because it would require equal time. This has nothing to do with anything except The View doesn't kiss the president's ass. The View brings up issues that are being debated all over the country and does not always shine a positive light on Donald J. Trump. And this can't be allowed. You understand? However you feel, you can't take a show and say, we're going to shut it down because we don't like what they're saying. That's what they did with Kimmel and got him suspended. That's what they did with Colbert, used the business proposition, mainly Paramount getting this big merger, and got Colbert off the air. We as Americans cannot allow this garbage to go on. And that FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, he better hope he doesn't run into me because I got a few things I want to say to him. And I plan to if I see that. Nothing.
You would have to, and you would have to leave your home to run into him.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
He happens to be walking through my living room. He's in deep trouble.
He's dying to go to Chestnut Hill.
So just so the audience understands, Rhea, before I go to you, here's what's going on. The View is being looked at by the FCC. They're going to try to reclassify it as a news show and bring back the equal time policy, which basically means that if you talk about the Democrats, I got to bring on a Republican to be able to talk about the Republicans. And the problem with this is that it effectively ends the show if they do this because they have to measure how much they talk and then try to, it would just destroy it. Now, you're a news person, Rhea.
Yeah.
Isn't this kind of the equivalent of like somebody coming into you and saying, well, you got to talk about the Pirates as much as you talk about the Phillies? So this would end you, right?
Well, so it's, and Angelo and I ran into this actually because we had Senator Arlen Specter on because he was a massive Eagles fan. He would call us once a week. And then, Angelo, I think if you remember, we had to have meetings about equal time. We may have even had to put on his opponent or somebody's opponent at one time. Here's the thing about The View. Now, I've only seen it a handful of times only because it airs at 9 a.m. I'm still in the air.
You're working.
So when I'm off on vacation, I do get, I'm not a big fan of it. I'll just be very clear. But it is not a news show. It's a show where they talk about the news. That's a very clear difference, okay?
Yep.
So Angelo, and Joe DeCamera, when we're talking sports, those are all our opinions. When I do the news, I have a little bit of leeway because it's sports. I give the scores, I tell what happened, but I also, I take shots every once in a while at people, at, organizations. So I have that leeway in sports. But all I'm saying is, in my opinion, of all the times I've watched The View, I don't expect that they're what they're saying has been vetted by lawyers, by 3 different people, that it's journalistic integrity, that Columbia has sanctioned it. I just think that they're people talking about news, and their bent is something that is anti-administration. But I don't consider them to be a news program.
Right now. And nobody should. I think everybody's aware when they watch the news. Joy Behar isn't like meeting Deep Throat in a parking lot to get deep in. I mean, they're just chatting, right?
Yeah.
So, all right. Oh, Angelo, I'm sorry. You were going to say something?
No, I'm just that this issue drives me insane. You understand? Because that when you're toying with that, you're basically toying with democracy. You're basically saying, I'm not going to allow people to speak their minds publicly because it will in some way make me look bad. Our country was built on the opportunity to say that. Why do you think our president could say anything he wants? He could do a video of him picking up Stephen Colbert and throwing him in a dumpster. I'm not
Yeah,
making
saw
it
that.
up. That exists. You understand? If you're going to exercise freedom of speech to that extent, shame on you for trying to suppress anyone else doing it. Not
Right.
allowed, can't be allowed. I will fight to the death on this. And if I lose every person who ever liked my work because I am against this president on this issue, so be it. What am I going to
Yeah.
do? I would be doing this on the air and probably be committing professional suicide. But you don't mess with freedom of speech. And that's what's been going on for the past year. And I don't like it.
And I'll just say this: if they're going to bring back equal time, they got to apply it everywhere, which means I have to get half of Hannity's show. So
Yep.
every night they got to give me the last half and half of his money to come on and do the opposite. And Fox, if you're listening, hire me for this. And you know what I would do with that money, Angelo, if
The
they're
hell
giving me
is
all that
that thing?
money?
What are you brandishing there, Rhea? What
I,
is?
somebody called me in the middle of it, so I'm
Oh,
hoping. I'm afraid to hit the end
oh, okay.
button because I don't want to end us. But let me.
I don't know.
Oh,
That was
she
a
did end
stranger.
us.
We did. She hit it. And she left us. Well, I will start this by talking a little bit about Steven Singer because
Yes.
Steven Singer happens to be very strong on the issue of freedom of speech. How do I know this? He created the I Hate Steven Singer ad campaign, which has gone on for 25, 30 years now. He created it himself. And I would say to him all the time, Steven, we're probably going to get into this. I might take a shot because I don't hate you. And he would go, say whatever you want. Do you
Right.
understand? You're talking about me. That's good for business. Talk about me. I don't care what you say. Just say it. I think that's what it's about. It's when you're representing a business, you have to be inclusive. That means take in all personalities, all political persuasions, whatever, and go into that store understanding that you're being listened to and you're being helped and you're going to end up with the right product. And nobody knows that better than my friend Rhea. What do you got today, Rhea?
Well, I would love to show it to you, but again, I'm on my phone, so I can't show you the picture on my phone. But what I'm going to tell you is, I went on before we started the show. May obviously is Emerald Month. I'm just telling you, not just May being Emerald Month. If you have someone in your life who's of Irish descent, like myself, there's a beautiful clover, emerald, and diamond ring that is absolutely gorgeous. They have an emerald engagement ring that is on there. They have some beautiful earrings. Absolutely, like emeralds. I want an emerald. It's not my birthstone, but I'm going. These are beautiful. So go check them out.
Emerald
Yeah.
with the blonde hair. That's a nice match. It's good with too, by the way. But
Yes.
Steven Singer knows all that stuff. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, also available now in Newtown. I hate stevensinger.com.
Love it. And Rhea, the only thing America loves more than Steven Singer is British television, as reported by you. What do you got for us this week?
This was so good. I sent Angelo a text message over the weekend and told him how great it was. It's called I Fought the Law on PBS Masterpiece. You can also access it on Amazon Prime. It's 4 episodes. They're around 47 minutes each, so it's not a very. It's a perfectly typical British show. It is this woman whose daughter unfortunately was murdered, and she spent 17 years fighting an 800-year-old English law to overturn it, to go after the murderer of her daughter. I'm telling you, it's harrowing. In the first episode or two, when she's just dealing with the grief with her husband, who really doesn't want to fight. Like, you actually see a real picture of a couple where the mom. She reminded me of my mom. I was like, this would be my mom if anything ever happened to me. This woman was going to fight. And the husband just at one point said, I just can't do it, but I'm going to support you doing it. Like a typical
Yeah.
guy, I'll let you do everything. But no, their,
Yeah.
their relationship was really interesting to watch because they actually separated at one point over it. But this woman, who was not, not any great, not from any kind of wealth or anything like that, fought this law all the way up through the British House of Commons, the Lords. She went in front of them. And I'm just telling you, I was blown. The British do true crime drama, not documentary, true crime drama, better than anybody I've ever seen. So I cannot recommend the woman who stars in it. It's Sheridan. I can't think of her name. What I will tell everybody, because I had to go back and watch it a couple times. The last scene of the movie, the woman who is actually the mom is in it. Because I'm like, why are they showing this woman?
Nice.
And I had, but they don't tell you that it's her. So like I had to go back. I went, all right, wait, something's going on. But I'm just telling you, it is the fight of a mom who loved her kid and was going to go. It involves the double jeopardy law, which, by the way, is still the case in America. You can commit a crime, double jeopardy, and they can never go after you again. That law got changed in England because of this woman, and it's phenomenal.
Rhea, where can we watch it? I'm excited.
PBS Masterpiece, and you can also access it off of Amazon Prime.
All right, great.
Excellent. And I know the bureaucracy tries its best to grind you down with too much work to get anything done. I know that my wife would probably be the same way if anything happened to one of our kids.
This woman was relentless. I mean, relentless. But she kept her spirit, and I really appreciated the relationship she had with her husband. Although in the beginning, like I said, I was like, oh, he's not supporting her, but he was just like, he saw what it was draining out of her.
Right.
And he just said, but I know you can't quit, so just do it.
Yeah, very nice. Angelo, what do you got for us this week?
Well, first of all, I did not watch the recommendation of I Fought the Law on PBS Masterpiece and Amazon because I was busy with a different Rhea recommendation, which I finished last night, called Legends on Netflix. And it is fantastic.
Isn't it good?
They nailed the ending. And I just want to point out Tom Burke, who plays the main guy who risks his family and his life to infiltrate this drug cartel. He's so good. I can't tell you how good it is. Those English people, they know what they're doing. Rhea, you nailed it again. Legends is great.
Awesome.
All right. And the one I wanted to mention, because again, a throwback, is called Crime 101. It's on Amazon Prime. If you're a subscriber, you get it for nothing. It came out through theaters a few weeks ago. It is really good. It's like Bullet. If you remember the old movie, car crashes, car chases, and old-fashioned, not a lot of special effects. It's all done real, and it's really good. It's an engrossing story about a heist. I love a heist caper. Heist caper's always great. Chris Helmsworth is the main character. He's terrific. I would like to look like him just one day. See what that would be like. Also in it, in a substantial role, I haven't seen her in ages, Halle Berry.
Oh.
Great in it. Can't tell you how good she is. Mark Ruffalo, Barry Cogan, they're in it. And this features, arguably, one of the worst supporting actor performances in cinema history. They brought back Nick Nolte.
No.
Oh my God.
And Nick Nolte is awful. No, even his voice. I know what happened. And you watch it and you're going, oh my God, they didn't know that Nick Nolte can't do this anymore. But even that, he's only in a couple of scenes for a couple of minutes. It's actually comic relief how bad he is in this. But you will love the show because it's old school with a great story and a great ending. And it's Crime 101 on Amazon Prime.
There's nothing better than taking guys like Nick Nolte, who was like People's Sexiest Man, 1989 or whatever.
Man.
Like showing your daughter what they look like now. And then,
God.
It's like, this is why you stay away from booze, everybody. So I got two recommendations. First one is a documentary that is new to me. It came out last year. It's called Breakdown 1975. And it's kind of an interesting proposition. The idea is what was going on culturally in 1975 and how was that reflected in the movies. This is the only knock that I really have against this is that it should have been a series, because they only have about 10 minutes to talk about each individual thing. They talk about race relations in America, and then they show you blaxploitation movies. They talk about the Watergate, and then they show you paranoia movies. They talk about the economy, and then they show you blue collar movies. And it's just kind of an interesting way of seeing how, especially in the 1970s in New Hollywood, how Hollywood was the center of the cultural universe, and how our culture is reflected through it. Could have done with 10 episodes on this. It was a really well done thing. Went by super briefly. The other thing, Angelo, you can just log out now because Rick and Morty season 9. Listen, Rhea's not going to watch it. Angelo doesn't care about it. But if you're one of the people that are like me, the show has not lost a step, ladies and gentlemen. Evil Morty shows up in episode 1 of season 9, and it's fantastic. If you are like me, do not walk, run to the comedy
no one is like you.
Of your well, yeah, that's true. If you're like me, please get help. But also watch Rick and Morty season 9. It's fantastic.
To put a positive spin on this, when I do get around to it, I got 9 seasons now to binge.
Wow, 90 episodes, Angelo.
All right, if you want to see how Stephen Colbert train wrecked his final week, it's a late show with Stephen Colbert on Paramount Plus. The Mandalorian and Grogu is available in theaters, as is Obsession, also in theaters right now. If you would like to see The View, that is on ABC at 11 o'clock every morning and available the next day on Hulu. I Fought the Law, PBS masterpiece, and Amazon. Crime 101 is on Amazon Prime. Rick and Morty are on Hulu. And Breakdown 1975 is on Netflix.
That man right there is Angelo Catati. If you want to hear about his discussions of free speech and everything else during his career as one of the biggest radio men in the nation, you can get his book Loud at angelocatati.com, amazon.com, or audible.com. That beautiful lady over there is Rhea Hughes. You can listen to her every morning on WIP, either on the radio or around the world on the Odyssey app. You can also check out her Instagram, which is Rhea Hughes 94 WIP on Instagram. And you can also check me out on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook. Do you like crazy politics? Are you listening to Angelo thinking I could use some more of this, but also more hateful?
Do not lump me in with you. I'm a one-issue person. Freedom of speech. You're all issues.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Check me out at Hello Jay Black on all of those different platforms. I do 2 videos every day. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks to our sponsor, Steven Singer. We will be back next week with more great TV content.